What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Welcome back, Marvin.
Yo.
And now Dusty's not here to see your triumphant return. This is crazy.
Yeah, I know.
And welcome back, people of the internet. This is episode 105 of the Harsh Language Podcast. How you been, Marvin?
I've been great.
You've returned.
I am in a new time zone. Yeah.
Your cross-country adventure is over.
Yes.
Finally. How was it?
It was cool. It was it went by faster than I thought, but I definitely wouldn't want to do it ever again. Like once is enough.
How'd the pets do on the road trip?
They did pretty good after the first day. We actually had an accident the first day.
An accident?
Not accident, car, but my cat pooped in his carrier the first day.
Rip.
So we had to clean it up.
It was probably like a nervous poop.
Yeah, the roads were terrible coming out of Vegas into Arizona. It was like bumpy. It was like might as well have been off road. It was really bad.
Right.
Yeah. But after that, it was good.
I'm glad you guys arrived safely.
Yeah, me too. It's still like
location.
A blur, kind of like still feels surreal.
Right. How's it feel being back home?
It's great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You hang out with my boy Vince?
I've hung out with Vince once so far.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yo, speaking of Vince, I gotta see his ass on the battlefield. Did you see that the fighting game is out, Marvin? The Marvel vs. Capcom shit? That whole collection?
Yeah. I did see that, yeah. People have been refunding it already.
Really?
Yeah, there's this guy, I think Justin Wong or something like that.
You know all the fighting game news, so.
He's like really good at it, and
yeah.
People were getting matched up against him and then just refunding it because he's too good. Yeah.
Just getting stirred up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So I guess the player base is kind of small then, if that's the case.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know how many people are playing it, but it's definitely a niche game.
But people refunded it because they got matched up against this guy who's like a pro and got shit on.
Yes.
That's crazy. Why would you?
Can't blame him.
I mean, get better, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I
mean, you got to know, like, it's not a new game. People are going to be good at the game.
Of course. But I feel like then you say it's a niche game. I feel like the target audience is like people who have played it in the past.
Yeah. But a lot of people, you play something thinking like, oh, man, I used to be good because you beat all your cousins or friends.
True.
But then you play like an actual good player and you get destroyed. So
that's true, yeah. I mean,
it can be disheartening.
We've all had that experience,
Yeah.
I haven't personally, but other people have,
Yeah, you will soon.
No, I don't play fighting games anymore. I mean, no, we've all been humbled in a video game. It's like, it's not just video games. It's like no matter what you're doing, there's always somebody better. That's what my grandfather tell me. Doesn't matter what you're doing, there's always somebody better. Yeah. So yeah, welcome back, folks. Episode 105. Not a full reunion just yet. We're edging the reunion. Hey, we have a Discord. Marvin, you were here for that. We made it. Be sure to check it out, folks. It is great. We've got we share trailers and we talk about movie news and show news and stuff and all sorts of cool stuff. So we also that's where we post our schedule. So if you want to know in advance what we're going to be talking about each episode, and you could like watch along with us, we had a request for that, so we did it. That's where you can go see that episode, and of course our website harshlanguage.tv. And if you have not done so already, consider subscribing. Marvin, we're getting very close. I would say dangerously close to the 700 subscriber mark over on YouTube. Were you aware of that?
I was, yeah. I need people to go ahead and stop fucking around and get us to the...
We're at 697.
Oh, man.
Now, I'm not good at math, but if I counted right, that's just 3 away from 700.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, if you're a returning customer, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's free for you. It helps us out tremendously, and we would really appreciate it. Later on in this episode, we're talking about Salem's Lot, the one that just came out on October 3rd. I don't know if it's it's not really a remake. It's just another.
Sorry, my dog.
You're good. Tell him I said what's up.
Come on, buddy.
I know you've been traveling and stuff. Did you get a chance to watch anything recently? Anything of interest?
I watched a couple things actually. What have I been watching? What was the one with Channing Tatum that just came out?
Oh, I forgot what that was called.
Something Blind or something. What was it? No.
There's a show?
No. It's a movie.
Oh, the movie. Yeah. It was like
Blink Twice.
Blink Twice, the horror movie, right?
That was good. Yeah, Blink Twice was good.
Was it good?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought it was good.
Mystery thriller.
It's like it's kind of like an Epstein Island type of thing going on, basically. Like, yeah.
I like that his character's name is Slater, and Christian Slater is in the movie. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Slater
King or something.
What else have you watched? You said a couple things.
Well, I also watched the one that you guys like.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask
Rebel
you about
Ridge.
that.
That
Rebel
was great.
Ridge. What did you think about that?
I thought Rebel Ridge was
What are you
really
typing
good.
over there, Marvin? What are you typing?
I'm trying to tell C to come get the dog because he's freaking out and I don't know what's going on. I think he needs to go out.
Oh, okay. You're good. You can take a minute if you want.
Yeah.
How are you typing to her?
Huh?
How are you typing to her?
We use WhatsApp, so I got WhatsApp on my phone.
Shit. Why do you use WhatsApp?
I don't think she has the RCS thing on her.
You know what? That just rolled out, or it's been rolling out, and I've noticed it's starting to show on people I text with who have Androids, and it's basically just like Apple, whatever the fuck, iMessage, where like I see the chat bubble and like, you know, when they're typing and all that stuff, and I get read receipts and shit. I bet you they don't even know about read receipts. they want to fucking try to fucking left me on red.
Right. Yeah.
No, but that's cool that they finally did that. Fucking Apple.
Yeah, it took Apple forever to do it, honestly.
Still no side loading support. Apparently that's only in Europe.
Yeah, that's whack. I thought it would just be for everyone. But of course not.
No, of course not. So what'd you think of Rebel Ridge? Did you like it?
Yeah. I thought it was really good.
Did you watch Dusty?
I'd never seen this guy in anything, but he was great.
I thought it was what's his name when I first saw the poster for it.
Ooh.
He not to be racist that all black guys look alike, but he looks like the dude from fucking the Zack Snyder shit.
Oh, he does look like that guy, yeah.
The one who I think is a terrible actor. What's his name?
Yeah. I have no clue.
Oh, fuck. Come on.
Just type in Zack Snyder black guy and I'm sure it'll pop up.
Nah.
Yeah, there it is. Wait, no, that's not him.
No, come on.
Come on.
What's his name? Why can't I think of it? He's a terrible actor.
JJ. No, that's not him.
JJ. Hell no. No, it's I don't even remember the name of Zack Snyder's recent movie. That's how little I care about that dude.
Rebel Moon.
Rebel Moon. Yeah, there you go.
Rebel Moon. You're talking about the guy that played
the one who was like the fucking Hawk trainer.
Cyborg, right?
Yeah, Cyborg.
Cyborg, Zack Snyder.
The fuck is this dude? This dude is so irrelevant. He's not even on the top cast.
He doesn't even have a name.
Hey, what is his name? Please.
Just literally doesn't have a name.
Ray Fisher.
There it is. His name's not on the internet.
No, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I thought the guy from Rebel Ridge was Ray Fisher, and I was like, I can't be watching a movie with this dude. But no, Rebel Ridge was good.
Him. It was fantastic.
Did you watch the review Dusty and I did, or no? You did not get a chance.
I didn't get a chance to watch it yet. No.
Yeah, I made a very bold statement, and Dusty agreed with me. I think it might be my favorite movie of the year so far. Rebel Ridge. It was like
new movies, right? That we've
just stuff we've watched of the year. No, 2023.
Oh, even like considering the old ones, like the Make Marvin Watches and stuff.
No, those don't count. No, I'm saying movies released in 2023.
I see. Yeah. In 2023.
Like
or 2024.
Is it 2024? What year is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 2024.
2024.
That's what I meant. Yeah. I think it is. It's like that, Civil War, and Bike Riders, I think, are my top three right now.
This and Civil War are pretty close. And Bike Riders was really good too.
And I have a sneaking suspicion my favorite movie of the year, new trailer just dropped today, the Bob Dylan movie. Did you watch the trailer for that? It is a biopic, yeah. It's called A Complete Unknown. Looks real good.
Oh, December. Oh, it comes out Christmas Day.
And it's directed by James Mangold, who is one of my favorite directors. Known for Logan, Ford versus Ferrari, Walk the Line, a previous musician biopic he did about Johnny Cash. I think this movie is going to be very, very good. And it seems to be covering Dylan's career. Now, if you know anything about Bob Dylan, he has a very long and ever-changing career, sort of adapting to whatever decade he was in, obviously. He just always sort of like adapted to the times and like made it work. But, you know, the most notable portion of his career is when he moved, you know, for basically when he first arrived in New York. I think he signed a record deal in like a couple of weeks of being here and like blew up in the folk scene. And at that time in the early to mid 60s, you know, he became a very central figure in the civil rights movement. And a lot of his songs would become known as quote unquote protest songs. They were like anthems of the civil rights movement. He was even at the March on Washington. I think he even spoke at the podium like during that. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But yeah, so he was like huge in that movement. And then in the mid 60s, like the Beatles had come to the US and like blew up, and like rock music was starting to become like the popular music of the United States. And Dylan one day shocked the world when he arrived at this famous festival they did every day, the Newport Folk Festival, which was a folk festival. And instead of showing up with an acoustic guitar and a harmonica, he showed up with a full fucking rock band. And like the audience like lost their shit. And a lot of his fan base turned on him. And it's like a really famous thing. But
wow.
So anyhow, the movie seems to be covering like his like rise to fame in the folk scene, and then through that whole Dylan going electric thing, which is very, very cool and interesting. I'm very excited to see it.
There was another thing you watched about Bob Dylan, right? That was that one the show, or what was that one that you had watched, or was that a different artist?
Recently?
No, not recently. It's something.
There's another Bob Dylan movie.
Yeah,
but it's a little bit more creative. That one was called I'm Not
That's
Here.
the one where, that's the one I remember you talking about.
I'm Not
where
There.
They, like, each album or something was like.
Yeah, so there's multiple actors that portray Dylan at like a different stage of his career.
Yeah.
None of them are Bob Dylan, though. That the movie's not about Bob Dylan. It's about artists that have like his persona.
Oh, okay.
But none of them are explicitly him. This is like, that's like an artsy like biopic kind of thing. This is like a straight up like, this is about Bob Dylan.
Right. Got it.
No, I'm Not There is a very good movie though. I actually really enjoyed that one. I'm Not There was directed by the guy who directed Little Children, which we made you watch.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. What else have I been watching? I don't know if I had said it, but I did finish Sugar, the one you recommended.
Oh, that shit was good, right? I didn't even know
it was really good.
I didn't know you started it.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it, but I kind of finished it pretty quick, I think. I feel like it was only like 8 episodes or something. But
yeah, it's quick.
You know that got renewed, or
I saw
second season, which I'm not sure how I feel about, but I'm here for it. I mean, it's good. It's actually crazy seeing Sugar and then going from Sugar to The Penguin. Have you seen any of The Penguin?
I haven't started it yet, no.
Pretty good.
So I guess spoilers, but did you or did you not like the fact that they that like twist that he's an alien?
I liked it. I think it came at the perfect time.
You think?
Where shit was like, man, what is this show gonna go? Like, what is actually going on then? Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Well, see, I thought I liked it just on its own as like a detective, like hard-boiled detective
No, it was
thriller.
great. Yeah, by that, yeah.
Because we made you watch Chinatown, so you see like it's that style of movie where he's like where he's narrating to himself and like he's got the inner monologue and it's like all very like noir, but just set in the modern day.
Yeah.
I really liked it. And so I was already hooked. I was on board. It could have just been that, him solving the crime, which I thought also was like an interesting mystery of what happened to the chick or whatever.
Yep.
But then they just like flipped it on its head. It's like, oh, he's an alien, and he's obsessed with like these like hard-boiled detective dramas, which is why he's.
But it makes sense, because he based his whole persona is from movies, and so that's why they were so obsessed with people watching and all that. Because
no, it was really creative.
I thought it was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really like how the doctor guy ended up being the villain. I'm not sure how I liked that and how it's going to play in the second season.
His homeboy, you mean? His friend?
Yeah, the doctor guy.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have a villain that's equal to the hero, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you watched?
Actually, yeah, I did watch Trap.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot his name, but
yeah. Josh Hartnett.
Yeah. It was cool. Shyamalan's daughter is not a good actress, though.
She was kind of his daughter in the movie, right?
No, she actually plays like this singer.
Oh, like the famous singer that they're there to see.
Oh, of the concert, yeah. It was cool though. It was all right. I did actually watch Inside Out too.
Oh yeah,
just the first one, Inside Out as well. It was good. It was amazing actually. Like definitely one of the best Pixar movies I've seen. And you know what's funny? It had a Chinatown reference in the movie.
What was the reference?
Yeah, one of the parts so that they went to this place called Cloud Town, and the cop is like chasing or doing something, and he's like, "Forget it, Jake. It's Cloud Town." It's pretty funny.
That is awesome.
Yeah. But it was good. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I can't wait to watch the second one.
Okay.
Me and C watched it.
Wait, that was the first one you watched?
Yeah, first Inside Out.
Oh, I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen it either. Maybe I'll watch it.
Yeah, it was really good. Really good.
And you've been watching Penguin?
Yes. I haven't watched the third episode, but I have watched the first two.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it a lot. Really, really good.
I was probably gonna let it build up. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the week
probably be better that way.
Well, we say it all the time. The week to week shit is like no good. But more of it. Again, you haven't been here, but I've been saying to Dusty. I mean, this is no secret. I said it to you too. Like, I don't really kind of care about it.
Yeah.
I find it to be and there's more we're going to talk about in a minute in regards to this very topic, but I'm like very turned off to the whole like, well, this is in this universe and this is in Elseworld, but this is this and then that is that and this is DC. It's like you're doing too much. And I know Warner Brothers is doing it because Batman is arguably their most profitable property, at least in film and television.
Right.
And so like they're just going to continue to pump out Batman shit. And it's like whatever label it gets. But like, I know we differ on this. I wasn't that huge of a fan of that movie, The Batman.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was bad. I just didn't think it was as good as everybody made it out to be. And it was just okay for me.
Right.
And so like, I'm less invested in like the actual world of it. But yeah, I heard the chick who plays Falcone's daughter is like a destroyer though. I heard she's like real good.
She's great. Sophia. Yeah, she's really good. I really like this universe. I mean, the Penguin seems so like grounded in reality in this show.
Yeah,
which I like a lot. I mean, it's
understandable.
It's like they're in the slums. He's doing like actual mob stuff and not anything like too crazy. Yeah, he's just portraying the Penguin very well. I think that's the best part.
I mentioned to Dusty, I think last episode, I said it in like a joking manner, but I was definitely serious. I was like, can we just get over this whole like grounded superhero stories at this point? Like,
yeah,
we appreciate it, Christopher Nolan, but like this dude like broke everybody's brains, and like that's all we get now is like it's grounded. What if Superman was real? What if Spider-Man was like, yo, they're guys in tights,
right?
And as good as it was, even the Nolan trilogy was like kind of silly by Batman. I'm sorry, by The Dark Knight Rises, where he's fighting side by side with fucking Catwoman.
Yeah.
In this like super realistic world, it's like, oh, that's a little silly looking.
Yeah. No, I don't think they have to. I don't think the main people need to be grounded, but I think it's fine. It reminds me of like Andor in a way because they're showing these side characters and it's like very like relatable and more like realistic in a way than like just the super like chosen boy and all that. Like it's just I don't know.
No, that's fair.
I think it's fitting. It's fitting for something like the Penguin to be more grounded than something like Batman or Superman.
That's fair. I also worry though, because like, well, I guess let's get into it, right? I was going to talk about well, we'll get into it a bit, but I haven't been watching anything just to catch you up. I've been playing a lot of video games.
Tarkov?
Yep, Tarkov. I'm just about done with that one show I was watching before Tarkov wiped. The one with Natalie Portman, Lady in the Lake.
Oh yeah.
Which has been pretty good. It's getting a little bit like kind of off the rails. It didn't get great reviews, and I guess I'm starting to see why. It's not bad, and I enjoy it. It's just like a little bit like, I don't know. It's just odd. There's something off about it.
Right. Yeah.
But you know what did premiere last night, Marvin? Fucking Superman and Lois season 4, the final season.
Oh.
2-episode premiere. And it was really good. Didn't disappoint. That show is so good.
Nice.
Let me tell you something. Anybody listening?
Still makes you want that guy as Superman?
I think he's a great Superman. Yeah, I'm sure what's his name is going to do just fine. But yeah, I don't know. This show has been, for me, the best portrayal of Superman since Christopher Reeve. It's just so good. I sent you something the other day, a link, because you were kind of like getting into comic books for a little bit.
Yeah, I added it to my list. Yep.
And you were asking, I sent you a comic book suggestion, a Superman book called Up in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm going to get choked up talking about it. It's a story about Superman. He leaves Earth. He leaves everything behind for like months and months and months because some girl gets kidnapped from Gotham, a little girl. Like it starts out, Batman tells her like there's this weird thing and like a girl goes missing at an orphanage and Superman decides to like leave Earth to go look for her. And each issue, so it's a multi-issue miniseries, I guess you can call it.
Sure, yeah. And
in each issue is Superman facing like a different challenge while he's going to look for her. And the whole story is to show like how Superman like perseveres because like he's Superman and like that's just what he does, and he refuses to fail, especially when he's looking for this little girl. Turns out by the end of it, the little girl, she was kidnapped by like this alien guy, and he needed just like a nobody, just some random fucking human that nobody cared about, so that he could like get an idea of like humanity.
Yeah.
And the whole idea was for Superman to like die on Earth, like protecting his people, the people that he loves, but he didn't. He left and chose to. And this is all happening. Superman is like defeating these robots, and this guy, the evil guy, is like narrating it, and he's like, like you can't win, blah blah blah, and he's like, you don't know what failure is, and like Superman responds, "No, sir, I do not," and it's like. I don't know, it's just really cool. But the whole time while he's fighting these robots that he shouldn't be able to beat in the universe somewhere, back home on Earth, Batman and the Justice League and everybody is fighting these robots and like they're losing. And then Superman finally wins and he like kills like the source of the power or whatever. And all the robots back on Earth just kind of shut down. And there's this one panel where like Wonder Woman calls into Batman and she's like, Bruce, they all stopped. Like, she's like, what happened? And he's like, and he was like, there was a central control system. Somebody must have shut it down. And she's like, Clark? And he goes, yeah. And she's like, but how? And he goes, because he's Superman. And we were in need and he's Superman.
Dang.
And then it cuts to the little girl in her prison cell and she's talking to her doll and she's like, we can't give up because Superman wouldn't give up and he wouldn't want us to give up and he wouldn't and we wouldn't and we're going to go home. And then he crashes through the wall and he says, "Yes, ma'am, you are." And he takes her home back to Earth and he, you know, brings her to like this orphanage and he's like, "You're going to find a good family, blah, blah, blah." Oh man, I'm getting choked up. And she says to him, she's like, you know, the whole time they're traveling home, she's like talking to him about all this stuff. And she's like, you know, I knew that I got to find it because I don't want to misquote it because it's so good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's like, you know, I knew that you were gonna, she says, "Is it gonna be okay?" And then, he says, "This is a good place. There are good people. They'll find you a good home. And if you ever need me, ever, just talk and I'll hear you and I'll come." And she says, "Okay." And he goes, "No more questions?" And then she says, "Did you think there would be more?" And he goes, "You always surprise me." And then she says, "I bet you thought I'd ask you why you went all up in the sky, why you left everything behind to save me. But that's a stupid question. I'm not going to ask it because I already know why." And he goes, "Do you?" She says, "Yeah, it's not like it's that hard. It's just, you're Superman." And so that whole comic book is supposed to show like the lengths that he will go to do the thing. And all that to say, this show, Superman and Lois, like really fucking nails that. And it's just like, you know, Superman gets all these criticisms of like, he's too powerful, he's boring, he's a goody two-shoes. All the Snyder nerds are like, "Well, we wanted to fucking give him like actual like questions and moral quandaries." It's like, that's not the character.
Right.
Whether you like it or not. I don't know. The show just really fucking nails it. And it like does him in the way that like, oh, how do you write a compelling story about a guy who can't be beat? And it's like, oh, well, you just give him human issues. Like he's a father and a husband, and he has to balance those things with being Superman. And the show is really good. And Dusty's not here, so I could spoil it. This final season, they're doing the death of Superman, which is he fights Doomsday and dies. And I'm assuming the season is going to have to deal with like, what is it like without Superman and like his impact. On, like what is his, what is him missing from the world mean? And the first 2 episodes were really, really good so far. So show hasn't let me down. It's so good. I'm so upset that they're canceling it. And there was like, you know, there's been stuff that came out. It was supposed to run 7 seasons. That was the original plan. This is season 4, so it's getting cut short. You know, it was more of like a Warner Brothers thing. It has nothing to really do with James Gunn. I don't know. It's just a shame that this show is getting caught up in like the fallout of a overhaul of the studio, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yep.
4 seasons is better than none.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so more Warner Brothers stuff. I don't have a lot of news to talk about, but I did want to talk about this because it's getting it's like pretty much all over the place. So I don't know if you heard, but Joker 2 is a complete and utter failure at the box office.
Things. Yeah.
This movie had a budget of $200 million. I'm sorry, $300 million apparently.
Oof.
And it is, I think, on pace or at least on par with Morbius. Joker is bombing actively, and apparently, like a lot of news is coming out that a lot of it is really because of director Todd Phillips. And let me say, just shouts out to Todd Phillips for somehow convincing the world that he's like a visionary by just like essentially remaking 2 Martin Scorsese movies and slapping the Joker makeup on his main character.
Wait, what do you mean? Which movies?
Well, Taxi Driver for one.
Oh.
Taxi Driver is like...
I haven't seen it.
It's that and the... what's the movie called with De Niro? Oh boy, give me a second. It'll come to me.
The Irishman. No, I'm just kidding.
Hell no. No. It's fuck, I can't think of the name of it, but it's basically oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's gonna drive me fucking crazy.
Mean Streets.
Nope.
Is it older? Is it like 70s?
Around there. It's around the same time. It's is it maybe he's not even in it? Maybe I'm just having a fucking stroke. Anyway, Taxi Driver is like a huge influence on the Joker, and you'd be completely intellectually dishonest for you to disagree with that.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to disagree with that. And the other movie, why can't I fucking think of it? It's basically about like a comedian, like just trying to like become a comedian. And but yeah, like that's what the Joker was. And like now I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really care for the first that movie, The Joker. I thought it was like okay, another movie that was like wildly overhyped.
Yeah.
And I didn't care about this one. I thought like okay, like first of all, why are we making a sequel? And second of all, why is it a musical?
Yeah.
So
when does so I started watching it a little bit.
The new one?
Yeah.
With like a bootleg?
Yeah. I wonder when the musical part actually starts. Like,
well, from what I've heard, it's not even really a musical. From what I understand, there's only like a couple of scenes that are King of Comedy. That's the other movie. Whoo, baby. I figured it out. Okay. So, from what I understood, like the musical scenes are like few and far between, so it's really not like a musical.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of criticisms around the internet saying like, oh, like they're mad that this is a musical, but it's like they were being upfront about it from like day one. Like everybody was saying it was a musical.
Yeah.
So that's stupid. However, I did hear a lot of other criticisms, people saying this is basically like a slap in the face to people who liked the first one.
Oof.
And a slap in the face to people who didn't like the first one. Like this is basically Todd Phillips just being like, just fuck everybody and everything. And so all this stuff is starting to come out that apparently Todd Phillips was being very difficult on the set. Now, I don't know what's true and what's false, but I just thought it was pretty interesting. So, spoilers, the end of The Joker 2 apparently ends with him dying in prison, okay? He gets stabbed by an inmate. And then that inmate, sort of out of focus, starts carving a smile into his face. Alluding to him being Heath Ledger's, that person being Heath Ledger's Joker. The real Joker.
Yeah.
And like killing Arthur. Yeah. So now, I don't know if you remember the chatter when the first Joker came out, but there were a lot of people like theorizing like this isn't the real Joker. Bruce is a boy in this movie. He can't, like, this can't be Batman's greatest villain. Like the age gap is too great. Okay. But I don't know that anybody ever cared about that. I don't know if that was ever like it was supposed to be like this Arthur is the one who influenced the real Joker who becomes Batman's greatest villain, And it all really just like never added up, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't like the movie, because essentially what you did, like, listen, it's one thing you could take inspiration from other films, right? That you admire. But you know, it's another thing entirely to do that and just like slap a huge like property onto it. And the Joker is like one of the biggest characters like in pop culture.
Yep.
Definitely the biggest villain in, you know, comic books and just media in general, probably.
For sure, yeah.
And so here's a quote. It says, "Some have noted the film is a very expensive punchline, Joker 2. A repudiation of the very audiences who showed up for the first film. Ironically, the ending of the film features a man carving a smile on his face, out of focus and slightly off camera. According to one source, the original ending of the first movie featured Phoenix's Joker carving his face in front of a crowd of his supporters. But the Dark Knight filmmaker Christopher Nolan killed that idea, as only his Joker carved his face. But now Nolan is no longer with Warner Brothers. If you remember, he left Warner Brothers. He's making movies for whatever the fuck the studio is. So now that he's not at Warner Brothers anymore, Todd Phillips was like, well, I'm going to do what I originally wanted to do and make this motherfucker carve his face. Okay.
Yep.
So now I just don't understand. Like, so again, I was saying is one thing to like, you know, take inspiration from movies that you want, but what's the point of making it a Joker movie? And this is where I think the studio is like, I don't know Todd Phillips as a person, but this seems to me like he's just being like fucking purposefully difficult because of the studio that he has to deal with. Like, I bet you he probably was trying to pitch this idea of whatever this story was, and they were like, oh, can you make this a Joker movie? Like, we'll give you like however many millions of dollars if you make this a Joker movie.
Right.
I don't know that that's the case. I'm just speculating, but like, apparently he was like very difficult. Now, also, the first Joker was produced or co-produced by Bradley Cooper, because Bradley Cooper had a production partnership with Todd Phillips, which has since been dissolved. So Bradley Cooper also had no input on this movie. Now, it gets weirder. Also, Joker 2 they started making it simply because Joaquin Phoenix had a dream about it, and he pushed for this movie to be made because of a dream that he had.
Okay.
So there's just a lot of like really bizarre stuff going on around the production of this movie.
Apparently I was reading that they didn't screen it or something.
They did not screen it, no.
Which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like they knew it was terrible. Like, fuck it. They're committed at this point.
So all this stuff that you're reading is now supposedly has to do with Todd Phillips.
Yeah.
Like just being difficult. So regardless, the movie like is an embarrassing failure.
Yeah. 300 million.
Yeah, it's a critical and commercial flop. And this is from...
Why do you even have to spend that much on this type of movie?
Well, that's the crazy part, is because the first one wasn't that expensive. The first one, and here's a quote. So, noting that both James Gunn and Peter Safran were absent from the Joker sequel premiere, it said that a, quote, dysfunctional dynamic behind the scenes saw Phillips decide he wanted, quote, nothing to do with DC during production. That allowed him to make the movie he wanted without anyone bringing up the comics or attempting to intervene. Quote, if the first movie was about some down on his luck, mentally ill guy in a downtrodden city, it makes maybe 150 million worldwide, not $1 billion, one insider tells the trade. People showed up because that guy was the Joker. That's what I was trying to say. It's like simply just that's what it is, you know?
Yep.
So... I don't know. I just thought this was all weird stuff, and I was laughing because, like, we were talking about, you know, DC earlier with like their Elseworlds and like where does the Batman fit into this whole thing? Where does the Joker fit into this? Like, it all just kind of like really makes no sense, and like it's just obviously it's just Warner Brothers trying to like make as much money off of these properties as they can. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting. And then it's like, here's another quote: "No one could get through Todd." A source directly involved with the movie tells the trade, quote, and the one thing about genre stuff, if you don't listen and pay attention to what fan expectations are, you're going to fail. But this was one of my biggest issues with the first one and why I don't like it. It's like, what was its point? It didn't do anything. If it's not about the Joker, which it wasn't, and everybody knew it wasn't, what's the point? And it didn't even have like a definitively, like, this is what we're doing. Like, it was just about a guy... Like, it just made no sense. It really made no sense because, like, no matter how you slice it, well, this isn't the real Joker. It's like, well, what's the point?
Right.
And so that's where I get this quote is like, well, yeah, if it wasn't about the Joker, it's not making that much money. This is Todd Phillips we're talking about. You know, no shade to him, but this guy's a fucking comedy director. Like, not that he can't produce, like, these good movies, but, like, what everybody claimed the Joker is just not what it was. People fucking went ballistic over this movie, and it was like
The first Joker.
I
enjoyed the first Joker.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But everybody acted like it was this groundbreaking, like, fucking movie. And it's like,
I definitely didn't feel like it was anything about the Joker, like, as we know him.
No. And I had a whole different argument, too, about it, which is like, you know, the whole, like, Michael Myers thing is like, soon as you explain away the thing, it makes it less scary. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I just find it funny. This movie's like a complete flop. And it's like, good, because nobody asked for this. Like, who wanted a sequel? Like, and who wanted a sequel?
Didn't need one.
That was a fucking
Actually didn't need one.
And like, it is what it is. And now he's, I don't know what he's doing, but it is what it is. And let me tell you, this is the episode of talking about studio interference, because Warner Brothers, man, they are on a bad course. Their stock is like in the tank. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, really?
Their stock is like $7 and change or something.
Oh, wow.
I think it's like,
what's going on?
It's at a very low point. Well, they're not profitable. They're like hemorrhaging money. They did Beetlejuice, which was a success, but then like this movie's a huge loss.
It actually has gone up.
Did it?
It was at $7, but it has gone up. So maybe something has changed.
Yeah, I don't know.
Warner Brothers. Oh, no. Sorry. Yeah, it's definitely at $7. I was looking at something different, I guess.
Is it?
Yeah. Warner Bros. Discovery, yeah.
Yeah, so that's my little transition. Don't got much news. Dusty's the news man. I just figured I would talk about the Joker flopping. But that's my little transition into what we're here to talk about today, and that is Salem's Lot, also produced by Warner Brothers, also suffering from studio interference.
Oh.
And so, yeah. Marvin, Master Barlow wants to meet you. Do you want to meet him too?
Yeah.
Long before True Blood or Twilight, Marvin, there was Stephen King's second novel, Salem's Lot.
Oh, his second. Wow.
Yeah. And
what was his first?
Carrie, maybe? Let's see. Am I right? Carrie, yep.
Wow.
Don't test my Stephen King knowledge, Marvin.
Carrie, this is the same Carrie that became the movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But yeah, so long before True Blood and Twilight brought vampires to small town America, Stephen King brought them to his backyard in rural Maine, Marvin, in a place called Jerusalem's Lot. This book was initially adapted in a TV miniseries, 2-part miniseries, in the 70s. And that I saw that when I was a kid. I've told the story here on the show before, my experience with it and how I watched it when I was very young. My aunt is a huge Stephen King fan, so I got introduced to his stuff very early, probably too early in age. Right. But I watched the original Salem's Lot when I was a kid, and it has stuck with me. It has, in my opinion, one of the scariest scenes in horror movie history. And it was that movie's variation of this movie's scene where the kid comes and scratches on the window and says, "Let me in."
Yeah.
Let me in. It's so fucking creepy in the original one. And also there's something just about those like 70s movies, you know, that like have this extra creep to them because they're like low budget and shit.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so Stephen King's portrayal of vampires was like kind of new in the 70s because up until that point, it was mostly like European like folklore shit. And like it was Dracula and his castle and fucking preying on like hapless villagers and shit. And then came Salem's Lot, which you know, which asked readers like, what if an outbreak of vampirism sort of struck your community? And so this is now the third adaptation of Stephen King's novel Salem's Lot. And is it good? Let's talk about it. So they didn't really do much with the story different. There's a couple of deviations from the book. Some are good, some are bad, I thought. But the main bulk of the story is an author returns to his hometown of Jerusalem's Lot in search of inspiration for his next book, only to discover that the townspeople are being attacked by a bloodthirsty vampire.
Yeah.
So let's hear it, Marvin. What'd you think?
I thought it was great.
Really?
I mean, I haven't seen the original. I haven't read the books.
No, I'm not.
I love
anything.
vampires.
Vampires are great.
I mean, it had the superstar 11-year-old Mark.
Mark, let me tell you something about Mark.
He's different.
This kid is a straight fucking gangster, okay?
It's amazing.
He got fucking... Now, listen, this was a little woke. If anything's woke, it was this. Like some black kid in 1974, new kid in the town, like, knows martial arts.
Fucking shit up.
Yeah, like, fucking he gets picked on and is just like, oh, yeah, no, I just happen to know Brazilian jiu-jitsu, so get fucked. Folie. I thought that was a little bit funny. It wasn't woke. I'm just joking. But it was funny. So go ahead.
Say uncle. Yeah.
Say
it
uncle.
Was good. The main guy, the author that came back.
Mm-hmm.
What else has he been in?
Lois Pullman is the actor's name.
I've seen him for sure. I just can't picture what he was in.
We just saw him in Good Bad Times at the El Royale, that movie I made
That's
you and Dusty
what it was.
watch. He was the sniper bellboy.
That's right. Yep.
And he was also in Outer Range. He played Rhett, the one who killed the person or whatever, where he got drunk.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Louis Pullman.
But you know him probably from the bellhop. He was in Top Gun Maverick. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see Maverick. No.
It's got to be Bad Times at the El Royale because we just literally watched it like a couple months ago.
Yeah, and he was, yeah. I haven't seen him in anything else. He hasn't really been in much else, it looks like. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. Just thinking through, I mean, Mark was just doing everything, smarter than all the adults, braver than all the adults. Yeah, I enjoyed it though. I thought it was good.
Okay. See, I think I had a couple issues with it. I did like it overall. It's getting like really bad reviews online.
Why?
So a lot of it is because of the Warner Brothers interference that I was going to talk about. So this movie was supposed to come out 2 years ago. It was supposed to come out during like COVID, and they made all sorts of excuses of like, it was delayed for 2 years. They made all sorts of excuses about like fucking COVID and this and that and blah, 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 blah. But according to recent information, the director, Gary Dauberman, this is only his second movie that he's directed. He has written a bunch of scripts. He wrote, he wrote both screenplays for It and It Part 2, and he did all the whatchamacallit, like Annabelle and fucking The Nun and like that universe of films, the Conjuring movies, I think they are, right?
Yeah.
He also wrote the Swamp Thing series, which was a scrapped DC project, which was fucking great that first season.
I need to watch that.
It was so good. But apparently the cut of his movie, the first cut, was 3 hours. And so it got chiseled down to whatever, an hour, 50 minutes or whatever the runtime is of this one.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people are complaining, and I agree, it feels a little bit rushed.
I can see that.
Yeah. And sometimes
progressing very fast in the second half, like it just
the fucking sun was fucking fast forwarded. That shit, the shit, like the sun doesn't work that way, folks. Like it does not just move across the sky like that.
Yeah.
So, I think, and also if you're familiar with the actual book, and I'm not trying to do that whole like, well, the book, but the book is a slow burn, like very slow burn. Like what you saw in this movie.
How many pages? Like 1,500 pages or something? Like what?
Well, that's it. I don't know how many this is, but the things that happen in this town progressively, like starting to dwindle in numbers and all that, it happens very slowly over the course of the book. And the book it's kind of a story within a story, and this movie doesn't address it at all. The reason he's home is Ben Mears, the author.
Yep.
He's there to get inspiration for his book based on the house. So the house is like its own character. The town is its own character.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
And the story within a story is when he was a child, he saw a ghost in the ghost of a hanged person in that house.
Haunting of Hill House.
And it always stuck with him. And that's why he's back home to try to get inspiration for the book. But it's like a huge chunk of the actual story.
That's literally the Haunting of Hill House, the hang lady.
Yeah, the Marston house.
Yeah.
Listen, you'd be surprised at how much Mike Flanagan takes from Stephen King. Not takes, but is inspired by. And listen, he's directed the best Stephen King adaptations thus far, so he knows his shit. Well, he did the Shining sequel, Doctor Sleep.
Doctor Sleep.
Yeah, which was really good. And now he's doing the Dark Tower for Amazon, I think. Remember we talked about that?
Yep.
But yeah, so in the book, that's like this whole other story. So that was like completely omitted from this. And I feel like the objective here was to sort of make the story for more of like, I don't know, it just had like this Stranger Things kind of vibe to it, like without the kids, but like it just had that feel of like this like ramshackle group of like would-be heroes getting together. And in the book, the relationship between Ben and Susan is like really deep and fleshed out, and that wasn't really addressed in this. She's just kind of like a side thing, and like by the time she gets turned, spoilers, it's like not really as emotionally impactful as it's, I think, meant to be.
They tried to portray it on the screen, but it was rushed because it's like she wasn't interested. Then they were sleeping together, and then he was madly like in love with her, and it was like there was nothing in between.
And honestly, the characters are pretty weak too in this. Like the characters aren't fleshed out at all.
They aren't.
Outside of like the teacher, who I thought was the best in the movie, played by Bill Camp, Matt Burke. Like he kind of like, he's the only one that isn't even fleshed out. It's just like a nice guy, and like you get his like kind of vibe.
That's the only one you really care about, Him,
everybody else,
and maybe the doctor lady.
I didn't give a shit about her. Alfre Woodard, she played Dr. Cody. She was terrible.
She got blown away, and I didn't really care though. Actually,
also, I just think the characters were like just kind of very like bland, and the plot was just very fast paced and like just boom, 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 boom. Like there's literally cuts of like weeks go by, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? And it's like 1 minute, like one kid is transformed into a vampire, and then the next minute, it's like the entire town.
All
is
the
just
kids
empty.
are gone.
Yeah,
and now,
so it was just very fast paced. And then the other thing I thought was funny too, which also has to do with pacing, was like everybody just like knew instantly that it was like, oh, it's vampires. We're dealing with vampires. It like the kid.
We always have the gripe. The opposite gripe, which is, oh man, they don't know vampires even exist in this world. So it's like,
that's fair. No, that's a fair point.
Now they do, so we have to accept it. Like, okay, they're smart to know that vampires are a thing, or like zombies are a thing, whatever the thing may be.
All right, I stand corrected. You make a good point. So I mentioned the movie was originally 3 hours. One of the things that he cut was which they shot, was young Ben sneaking into the Marston house and seeing the ghost of Hubert Marston. So in the book, again, I mentioned that's why he comes home. But he comes home to write a book about the abandoned Marston house where he had the childhood experience when he saw the hanging ghost. He learns that the house is the former home of a Depression-era hitman, Hubie Marston. And so that's like kind of like, it's like a huge plot point that they just kind of like I don't know why you cut that if you're going to cut it. I mean, I could see what they tried to do in terms of like making it a more just straightforward thing.
Yeah.
But he says here that that scene that he shot with the ghost seemed to muddy the waters for audiences. The ghost story within the vampire story. He goes on, quote, "To me, it's so important because it's why Ben believes the vampire stuff, but we're not telling that story. So that was the hardest thing to cut because I love the sequence."
Right. No, that makes sense.
But it's such a huge part of his character because that's why he believes that it's vampires. It's like why he can. If I came to you, Marvin, and I said, "Yo, I think my neighbor's a vampire," you're gonna think I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah.
While you know what vampires are, you're gonna be like, "The fuck is going on with this guy?"
Yeah.
There has to be something that makes you like even buy into it a little bit. So I don't know. True. I think it's just a big part of his character that they just kind of cut out. The film also notably excluded a lot of the more disturbing stuff from the book. And it also forgoes, like I said, fleshing out the town's collection of like shitty people. Like Stephen King likes to do that. Like it's a huge part of it. Like Derry is not a nice place. There's like the racism and like the bullying and like the adults in the town are weird, but it's all based on, it's like Pennywise's like power over the town that causes it. And the movies, I think, kind of like got that point across enough. But like similarly, this town is not very nice. And, you know, their transformation into vampires is like kind of like part of that. Right. Now, in the book, Kurt Barlow, the master, he's portrayed sort of like a Dracula figure. He's more of like proper and like, kind of just more human, I guess. But in the 1970s adaptation, they went with making him look similar to the vampire from Nosferatu, which what's his name? Count Orlok is the vampire in Nosferatu. So they gave him that sort of look, that like white ghoul looking type of thing. And they did the same thing here, which is fine.
I think I think that was okay.
I think he looked good. Yeah, I mean, I didn't care that they did the CGI stuff with him. I'll tell you what, if you look up look up a picture of Barlow on Google, he looked way better in the 70s. That motherfucker was scary. That was scary.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. So so allegedly this was all based off of like Warner Brothers like bullshit. Like they came in and sort of like, I don't know what they did with this. Like this should have been in theaters, I thought. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I could have saw it being okay in theaters. I mean,
but anyhow, I didn't think it was bad, but it did have this like weird sort of cheap Hallmark movie feel to it. Like the way it was edited, like the dialogue and the acting was at times like comical, I thought. You know, you got the rush plot. Like I think this would have worked better as just like a 8 to 10 episode limited series or something, where you could really like spend a lot of time with some of the characters and plot points, you know?
Yep.
Like the kid is a great example, right? Because he's like a fucking badass, Mark. And like, you're supposed to feel bad when his friends die, but you don't. Because you don't even spend time with them. There's the one scene with them.
Yeah.
You're supposed to feel bad when
one kid gets snatched up like almost immediately.
Yeah. You're supposed to feel bad when like his parents die, but you don't.
No, because they're idiots. I didn't feel bad at all.
They dropped the ball with Father Callahan.
Oh, yeah.
The priest. Because in the book, he's a man like, and I mean, I guess they portrayed it enough, but in the book, he is like a man he's having a crisis of faith. Like he is a man of the cloth who is like struggling with his own faith. And in the movie, when he faces Barlow with the cross, Barlow speaks and says like something about like a man losing his faith.
Yeah.
That whole engagement is Barlow testing the priest's faith.
Yeah.
And it's his lack of faith that makes him like lose to Barlow, right?
Yep.
But in the book, he doesn't fucking kill him. He just like shuns him. He just leaves town because he's like, fuck, I'm like a piece of shit.
Yeah, because it's like, that makes a lot of sense. Kind of like the exorcist thing. Like, the priests have to be strong enough to perform the exorcism.
Mm-hmm. So there's
and then if you lose your faith, you're like,
right. It's like, what the fuck?
There's no hope for you in the afterlife anyway, or whatever,
exactly.
Right? So, yeah.
So, lots of little like gripes about it like that. And I think it would have just been better had it had more time to sort of deal with a lot of these story points. And like, it's a story with a lot of different characters. Stephen King's stories are often like that. They're like very fleshed out and stuff. It as well. Like it is, I think, you know, the book has like a lot of like nuance to it, and each character has like, you know, really deep fleshed out stuff. I think the movie did like an overall good job with those things, but like, you know, you can't, it's hard to adapt a book in like 2 hours. Like it's just That's almost tough, impossible.
Man, yeah.
But again, I don't want to really compare it too much to the book because like, it's not going to live up to that. And I don't expect it to, but as a movie, those gripes aside, the plot speed aside, I was surprised that I actually came around to enjoy it by the end of it. Because it actually had this like sort of old school kind of like horror movie element to it. Like it felt like an old fashioned sort of horror movie.
Yeah.
Like to the point, no fluff. It was just did its thing and that was the end of it. I thought the vampire design was kind of cool. How'd you feel about the vampires, Marvin? Did you think they were creepy?
I thought their eyes were pretty creepy.
Yeah.
And I liked some of the scenes with them coming back. Like mainly the one in the hospital.
Yeah, that was creepy.
Where the mother coming back.
Danny,
that was
answer
creepy.
Me.
Yeah.
I thought
that was good. Yeah.
I think when the movie does, I think when the movie is hitting, it's hitting good.
Yeah.
I think it does a lot of really good stuff.
Right.
I think some of the scares were really cool. Like there weren't really many jump scares. It just kind of had this like feeling of creep to it. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird. I'm like 50-50 on it because like, again, there was some really good moments and then some other like not so good moments. And I wish the characters were more fleshed out because like I'm watching it knowing the characters themselves. Like I know them from the book. You're watching it just based off of this. So it's like, you don't even know any of these people really.
Right. Yeah. I wish we could have saw more of the town. Like,
right.
We kind of just saw them jumping from like main location to main location and not really seeing the town as a whole. So I can't even really like picture what the town even looks like.
Yeah. So I just thought it was it was still a little too rushed. So I am a little bit disappointed, but I didn't hate it. I kind of enjoyed it by the end of it. The last thing I think I wanted to talk about with it, and this was interesting, is that since Stephen King wrote Salem's Lot in 1970s, like vampire lore in pop culture has evolved tremendously since then. And we talked about this not recently, but in a different episode of the podcast when we watched The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and we all kind of agreed like setting a story like that on a boat in the 1800s or adapting a story that's about a boat in the 1800s and not really changing anything doesn't have like really that scary of an effect watching it as a modern audience. And I kind of felt a little bit of that as well with these vampires. I felt you could feel how they're a little bit dated in terms of lore, like the stake through the heart and the sunlight and the holy water and the white roses, which is one I didn't even know about, the garlic and like all this shit.
I didn't know about the white roses either.
Yeah, I'd never heard that one.
I think the Barlow like testing the faith was a little different for vampire wise.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like the cross, like the cross just stopping. I think that was different. I could see that, like I said, in like an exorcist type
thing.
but I wouldn't expect this. So I thought it was cool in a vampire thing.
The thing about vampires is that I think a large part of the old school lore, which this movie also obviously plays on, has to do with faith.
Yeah.
And like they're damned because they're damned by God, so they're damned to live like a life, like, you know, in the night and in the shadows and like all this stuff, and like it's holy water and the cross that like repels them. And that's hard for me because, you know, obviously I don't believe in those things. And that's fine. Like I'm able to like have fun with it and whatever. I think that's fine.
Right.
But what with this movie, and like I love Salem's Lot. Like the book is fantastic. I think if you're interested in the story, for sure read the book. But if you want like a really, really, really good vampire story that takes a lot of inspiration from Salem's Lot and is basically just a better version of this movie, watch Midnight Mass. Mike Flanagan's masterpiece on Netflix that I never shut the fuck up about. It is exactly the same story. It is about a small town being invaded by vampirism.
Oh wow!
But the difference
is, definitely check it out.
The difference of
Midnight, got it on my list.
The difference of Midnight Mass, though, Marvin, is that it takes the vampire lore and flips it on its head. The show Midnight Mass never refers to what's happening as vampirism. We see it as vampirism because it's part of our pop culture. Blood-sucking creatures that turn each other. But the show never refers to them as vampires. They're just creatures. We don't know what they are.
Yeah.
And the show is a lot about faith. It's a lot about, like, it's a very religious town. And I won't give you too many. Well, I'm not going to even tell you about it. Just watch it. It's just,
I'm going to watch it.
It's essentially an adaptation of Salem's Lot, but different. It's more or less what it is. It's very, very similar story. So, yeah, I mean, if you want like a really good vampire story, go watch fucking Midnight Mass.
I'm going to do it. I love vampires.
If you're a fan of Salem's Lot, I don't think this is really the adaptation for you. It's not really a great adaptation outside of like names, namely Barlow and Straker. But as like a fun little vampire movie in October, like I think it was all right.
Yeah, I think it was a fine like October watch for sure.
Yeah.
And I did look up the page count. It's like, well, the first edition was like only 400 pages, but the more recent reprints are like almost 700. So it's not too long of a read. Honestly, that's not that bad.
No, I wonder where all the extra pages come from.
It had to be some addition or something, some changes.
That's interesting.
I wonder what he changed though. I don't know.
That is interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I can't say I would watch this and be like, I want to see a really good screen adaptation of Salem's Lot. If you just want something fun to watch, then yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish it was better. I was definitely a little disappointed. I was kind of hyped for this. I was like, oh, fuck, we're getting a modern... Like, just watch the 70s one. And the 70s one isn't even really that good. Like, it's cheesy. But the 70s one, Marvin, directed by my boy, Tobe Hooper, horror movie icon. Do you know the name, Marvin?
Tobe Hooper. That's Jaws?
Nope. Hooper was the character in Jaws.
Tobe Hooper.
Tobe Hooper is a horror icon, Marvin. Come on.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Huh?
Yes, sir. Poltergeist. We made you watch that. You forgot about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hooper, I thought Jaws instantly.
Hooper drives the boat, Chief. Nah, Tobe Hooper has done some of like the best horror movies ever, you know? Salem's Lot miniseries. Like Salem's Lot, that it's up there as like I think one of the best like horror movies like ever made. It's like for a cheesy 70s like TV movie, it's fantastic. But outside of that, he did do Poltergeist. We've talked about that before. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously like a standout in horror movie history. But yeah, I guess I don't know. That's really all I got to say about it. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
No, I think we covered it. I think it is worth a watch. I wasn't necessarily disappointed because, like I said, I haven't seen any of the original stuff, but I do agree with
Yeah, you
the
didn't have any
rush plot.
expectations, really.
Yeah, rush plot, some cheesy dialogue in there for sure. I think the actors all did a pretty good job though with what they were dealt.
I guess the dialogue was I don't know if it was him or the writing or what, but the dude playing Straker was fucking terrible in my opinion. That I don't know why he was talking to fucking Barlow like he was just fucking Shakespeare, like master.
He was like a typical what's it called? Familiar. It was like a.
It was so weird. Like this takes place in 1974 or 70 or 78 or something, and he's like plucked from like fucking 1800s
1930s.
London. It was very bizarre. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it had some standout moments, and the moments where it like was really popping, it did a really good job. And I liked the kid too. Like I like that, like, you know, I'm thinking about it because you kind of fucking checked me on it of like, well, we always complain when people like are so stupid. So yeah, I liked how the kid was like a comic book nerd, and he was like, oh fuck, I know exactly what's going on. That was kind of cool, but I wish I got to know him more. Like I wish there was more for me to like be hyped about.
Yep.
I also
see the build up. You can know like, okay, he's in the comics instead of finding out he's in the comics after finding out about the vampires.
And just to say too, I've mentioned this before on the show, but one of the best iterations of vampire lore I think I've ever seen, aside from The Witcher does vampires like incredibly, but the show, the book, comic book, and the show Preacher, which is about a preacher who's trying to find God, like literally find God.
Yeah.
Have you watched Preacher or no?
I have it on my list. I need to.
It's really good
to watch. Yeah.
The vampire in that, Cassidy, is one of the best vampire characters I think I've ever seen in a thing or read in a thing. I think he was turned in World War I, I think is his story. I could be wrong.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But he's like really depressed, and he does drugs, and it's like he does drugs because he can, because he's a vampire and he can't die. Yeah. So he like pushes the limits and ODs all the time and like all this shit. But like, it's because he's depressed, because he's lived a life where like everybody he's ever loved has like kind of died, and he's outlived everything and everyone. And it's just really an interesting perspective, which you don't see that often in like vampire stuff. So
except Twilight,
and that sucks. But yeah, so Salem's Lot, not the best adaptation I've ever seen, but an okay October movie. It's got a 5.7 on IMDb. What's your rating, Marvin?
5.7 is low.
Yeah,
I would give this like
a
7.
7?
This is like a 7 for me, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a little bit higher than I thought. I'm going to give it a 6. I think the acting, like, it's just too much that I can't ignore. You know? 6 is like mid. It's like mid. It was okay.
Yeah.
But it's getting shit on. There's a lot of bad reviews on IMDb, and it's getting shit on.
I don't think it deserves to get shit on. I mean, probably from fans of the original stuff. I get it.
A lot of it is fan stuff.
They just overdo it though. Like, give it a rest.
Hey, listen, Marvin. People are passionate.
Oh god,
it's got
I'm sick of that.
It's got a 48% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's not fair.
The critics hate it too.
Critics hate themselves. So I mean,
that's true. Yeah, they do. For moviegoers willing to let go of minor details, this version is an effective spooky distraction, improving upon many of the cheesiest effects from previous adaptations while still paying homage to the films novel that inspired them. That's fair.
What did Stephen King think of it? That's what I want to know.
He said it was good.
That's what matters. There it is.
But he shit on WB for not releasing it in theaters. He's like, what do I know? I just write the shit.
That's his right. Hey.
Yeah, no, listen.
Yep.
You know, Dusty posted something a couple days ago. I don't know if you caught wind of it, but it was really fucking funny. So you know how Kojima is like he's like a cinephile movie head?
Yep.
And he always watches stuff and says that he talks about it. So, but whenever he does a movie, whenever he watches a movie on Twitter, he like writes a whole bunch of shit about it.
Oh,
and for Salem's Lot, he just wrote, watched Salem's Lot and nothing else.
Oh my God.
All the comments were like, if Kojima says nothing besides he watched something, it tells you everything you need to know.
It's terrible. Yeah, dang.
That bad, huh? Oh no.
Hey, you know what they say? If you don't have anything nice to say,
don't say it at all. It's fair. It's fair. I will say, speaking of vampires, what I'm most excited for is that fucking Nosferatu remake that Robert Eggers is doing. That shit looks so good. I think we talked about it the last episode you did with us, where I asked if you watched the trailer.
Oh yeah, I still need to watch the trailer. Bill Skarsgård, right?
Mm-hmm. Our boy Robert Eggers is gonna make fucking vampires scary again. I'm gonna tell you what.
Robert Eggers. Oh, he did The Northman, The Witch.
Oh yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
He got some bangers.
Man.
Oh, he did The Lighthouse too, right?
That's right.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Here's a funny review. This is kind of how I feel. It feels like a string of scenes continuously forgetting about essential characters, relegating much of their development off screen. Whatever reason there is to get engaged in any of this sucked out dry.
Yeah.
That's honestly true. Yeah, no, that's true. But yeah. All right. Well, anything else you got, Marvin?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, folks. There's our thoughts on Salem's Lot. Check it out. If you haven't, let us know what you thought about it. If you have, leave a comment down below. Remember, you could check out our website, harshlanguage.tv, for all of our links. Most importantly, join the Discord. It's fun over there. We have our schedule up. You could let us know your thoughts and stuff like that. Talk about movies and TV. Leave a like on the video. It helps us out a whole bunch. And if you have not done so, consider subscribing. It's free. And again, helps us out a lot with the all-powerful algorithm. Right, Marvin?
Yes. We need the help.
We're watching horror movies all month this month. Next week, we're watching one that I was kind of looking forward to. People on TikTok were kind of fucking going crazy about it. Some said it's the scariest movie of the year. And you know how I feel when people say some shit like that. I'm skeptical, but we'll see. We're watching Oddity. So join us next week if you want to hear our thoughts on that. But until then, we appreciate you hanging out, and we will catch you later.
See ya.